Just days before they were to leave for Tokyo, Megadeth played a show in Eugene, Oregon. Dave was a disaster.
Dave was intoxicated. I was like, oh man, this is horrible. This sucks. And finally, it was almost like an act of God. The barricade down in front of the stage broke. And it was just like a big pop.
Last thing I remember, I incited a riot. Somehow, the barricade broke. Everybody rushed to the stage.
We were like, we're out of here. That's it. Let's go.
But as soon as Dave left the venue, he swallowed a handful of Valium pills. And by the time he was hustled to an emergency room, he was rambling incoherently.
I was covered in sweat and piss and everything. They got me into pajamas, and then I died. They took me to an emergency room, and I was dead.